Hey yo, what's good? What's going on, everyone, everywhere? Welcome back to another video, man. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the video out, let everybody know what we got going on here. Put that in the post notification bell on, set it to all, not personalized, because that's how you get the notifications right there. Now, I put a lot of hard work, time, energy, and effort into these builds and these loadouts, man. So please show some support. Let me know your feedback in the comment section down below. Try to make sure that the best possible loadouts, literally possible. I scoured all the YouTube videos for like literally a little over a year ago up until today. I scoured DCUO forums, websites. I'm supposed to have loadouts, Discord chats, and different group room, in-game chats, and different players talking about, and all kinds of stuff in between. All right, so I've done a lot of research, tried a lot of different loadouts, tried a lot of builds, tested stuff out, made my own, and this ends up being the best one. Now, this is my creation, so hey, that's good there. But let's go ahead and get into it. So without further ado, you already know some single target. This is gonna be our boss kind of damage here. You're gonna use dual wield. We're gonna have a blast adapter in our weapon socket as the mod. Okay, our head socket, we're gonna use critical wide 3, which is gonna get 2% extra critical strike chance, which is gonna help us in the long run there. Now you can make the argument depending on your group if you want to use the supercharged circuit breaker 3, which gives you 5% supercharged back. But that is very dependent on your group. I'll say all around general case basis, if you're not using any supercharges, like that's rarely ever something that you do, or if you're on the other side and you always using supercharges, this head socket is going to be the best for you. Now if you're somewhere in between, then you can make the argument for the other head socket mod, but hey, for this one, for those two cases, we're going to go with this one right here, and it's going to give you the most damage too. Net socket is going to be relentless precision, as you see, because we're precision based DPS here. Back mod is going to be a berserker. You do actually get below that 35% more times than you actually realize. I feel like for most players, a lot of times the healers are good enough. Pop a shield, drink a soda, supply drop happens, whatever the case may be. You get back up, but you still get that 10% damage for a little bit. So definitely this is something to throw into the mix, and it's going to help you out in the DPS comps. Maybe you're just about to go down, maybe you almost got one shot but you have a sliver of health left, whatever the case may be. That's going to give you that 10% additional damage output right here. Now in terms of our chest mod, we're going to use penetrating strikes. Everybody already knows at this point it's going to be the better one over core strength. Core strength is a flat 2% damage increase, as opposed to penetrating strikes, which is going to ignore 2% defense and toughness. Now this just gets better and better as we progress through the different in-game tiers and later and later content with the higher CRs that we have. And you can think about it in the most simplest way of 2% of 100, 2% of 1,000, 2% of 10,000, 2% of 100,000, 2% of 1 million, 2% of 10 million is a lot higher than you just doing 2% more damage on a 100k hit, which is going to be what 2,000. But if the boss has 10 million defense, you ignore 2% of that, that's going to give you a greater output right there. So just think about that. Okay, leg socket, we're going to use spark barrage, but we're not going to actually use anything here or anything that our leg socket can provide to us. I use spark barrage for our pet DPS build that we'll be having here up on the channel shortly. Okay, feet socket, we're going to use daily block. Daily block is going to give you a little bit of extra damage increase if you just want to do the damage comps, especially a lot of ads. They may do some interruptible, maybe blocking whatnot. You can go ahead and block break them and interrupt them as needed and get that damage increase because of it. Now hands socket, we're going to use max damage. Almost all DPS should be using max damage, but if you don't know, now you know. Now in terms of our affinity mods, these are a bit wrong. I advocate for type C and D to definitely go to support roles, and that's what mine are set to right now. Type A and B are for, I have them currently as might, but they should be precision for our precision build here, so bear with me, I am missing some precision there. Now also, type C and D, if you definitely want to just go ahead and use them for your damage roll, I recommend support roll because they're way better for support rolls than they are damage. But for some reason, if you want them to be for damage rolls and you're only going to do damage, then type C, you can use the aggressive protection, which pretty much gives you absorption adapter whenever you use your weapon buff as well, on top of whatever, blast adapter like we have in our weapons mod socket there. And type D, you can go ahead and use sure-footed, which just gives you a little bit more control resistance there, which allows you to stay on your feet, your uptime, constantly doing damage, not getting stunned, stuff like that. Okay, so that helps out minusculely, but it can add up in the long run if you are just doing purely DPS. Now, if you're going to do support role, definitely go with support role ones because they're a lot better, as you see here by these type C and D ones here. All right. In terms of our trinket setup, tier 3 pet, check Obsidian Shield's video if you want to know the highest one in the game currently. I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but I just use another box. It's pretty good, pretty decent. Been using it for a minute, so it is what it is. We're going to use our buff trinket. Get the one from the vendor, it gives you the highest amount. Just like you want to get the weapon from the vendor, it gives you the highest amount. Okay. We also want to go throw in that Augments nanite circuitry trinket just because it gives us a base health increase of 125%. That will help us with those buff trolls, increase our might and precision depending on what artifacts they're running, as well as giving us an additional 5% critical strike chance, critical attack chance, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And that is going to help us boost our critical attack chance even higher, especially paired with the critical wire that we have here in the head. So that's 7% just increased right there, which is phenomenal. Now I do have the henchmen. You want to use the mummies, whatever one's your latest DLC. Since Black Adam's the time of the squad, it's gonna be mummies, since you get the 10% additional more damage. Now I have it in the force slide because I like to sub it out with the orbital strike and supply drop with the respective artifacts right there. Now in terms of artifacts, let's hop into it. Transformation cards are going to be stable, so always going to stay here. Quizlet is a good one. It is better than Grim just on a base to base damage. Even though you're losing a little bit of that precision, it makes up for it in the raw damage output that it has outside of you using supercharges. Now since we do use supercharges and we're more than likely going to sub out the strategist card, which is going to be our third artifact here, we might sub that out and do that with Eye Gemini when if we pop a super, which is just going to allow us not only hit additional damage with Quizlet, but also utilize the full scale of our super with Eye Gemini as well in that orange ring. Now, if you're noticing a lot of your group mates are using Eye Gemini field, I would go ahead and recommend that you actually replace Eye Gemini over Quizlet, not strategist card, because you will be receiving a quite substantial increase, since it does increase your might and precision by 5%. The vitalization increase does help us out since our power generation is pretty low, being precision based DPS. So definitely keep that in mind. But if your group is spamming EOG like crazy, and especially the healers and tanks and stuff like that, you're always having your super up and always able to use it, then hey, you might just want to go ahead and put the Eye Gemini artifact here in terms of replacing your strategist card instead of Quizlet. Keep transformation, and just pop an Eye Gemini right there, and you're gonna do phenomenal more damage right there, just because you're able to utilize the buff that Eye Gemini get, plus utilize the buff that Quizlet gives as well, since you're constantly popping that, and that will outweigh excuse me, y'all, what strategist card is giving you. Now, in terms of my stats, you can see what I got going on here. You can screenshot it as need be and whatever else, okay? Now, do keep in mind my health is a little lower because in my base generator mods, I have all power for my blues. I have all restoration with 1 dominance in my yellow, and I have all might in my red. Now, that's for my general setup based on, what I'm trying to do with other builds and other stuff going on, and I'm not really trying to keep subbing those in and out for the stuff, since I am on the live server, and that's going to cost me quite a bit of resources to keep replacing time and time again. So keep that in mind, bear with me. My precision is definitely be over 100k if I have the generator mods in, and even if I had the Affinity mods here in as well. I am 396 CR, and you can see my stats there are as follow. So in terms of our augment, they should all be precision, even the head augments too. I only have might augment here because it's maxed out, and my other precision augment is not. It's only a halfway. So once this gets a bit higher, then it'll outweigh the benefits of me just rocking the might maxed out one, okay? Now in terms of our allies, we're actually going to always rock the crypto because single target, he's the best. House Legendbot is second, but crypto is first in terms of that, okay? And it gives us a nice little burn effect for the damage over time as well. Now, if you're doing a pretty consistent long boss fight, I recommend that you go ahead and put an Ember Aquaman with that Seaside Restart, which is allowing us to utilize our supercharge to get our ally constantly back up. And as we use our ally, we get a damage boost. Now, if you go ahead and max up Shazam all the way, your damage boost is going to be 6% might and 3% precision for 30 seconds, which is a phenomenal thing to have. Now, if you don't want to invest too much in supercharge like that, you can definitely go ahead, still rock the Batman Who Laughs with the luck of the draw. All of those will help you out tremendously. The increased stats just help you out because increased stats will help you output more damage. Power generation, so make sure you always have your abilities to do more damage. The critical chance is just allow you to hit harder when you're doing damage. And then the increased health will allow you to get a higher buff from buff controllers. Now you can also go ahead and pair that with Hear My Call for increased damage output of your pets. Okay. Now this does count for a robot sidekick that we'll use, the Quizit that we also are using, henchmen and stuff like that as well. So that definitely something to consider there. You can also use Cloak and Snare for Death Metal Batman here for that 10% might increase as well as the 5% precision increase and the 40% defense buff to make sure you're staying up and alive. Now you can definitely switch those out as need be for in terms of your support allies. So you definitely have a little bit of whatever build you would like to do. I like to use these two in particular just for more prolonged fights, since I will be staying on top of my supercharge and popping my ally as many times as possible to get that just free, good, easy damage. All right. Now in terms of our actual spec weapon, we're already dual wield, so you're pretty much come all the way down and try to get this flurry shot. Now to get the flurry shot, you will have to go back into bow, get all the combos and combinations, get the bow mastery, come back and dual wield, then you're able to get that one right there. I do not recommend that you go ahead and get explosive shot as well, just because you may mess up your combo and you don't want to keep doing that and accidentally proc an explosive shot. You want to keep hitting flurry shot as much as possible. And if you don't have that combo, then you can't hit that other one, huh? Then on top of the fact, we're going to go to our movement. Now I am doing super speed. I will give a super speed variant of this as well as a non-super speed variant of this particular loadout / build for our boss damage single target loadout that we got going on here. But in terms of any movement, get your breakouts, your resistances, whatnot, especially if you have about, I would say probably over 450 to 500 skill points plus. You can go ahead and afford to your breakout masteries here and resistances, just so you always have that constant uptime. If you are super speed, get that whirling dervish. It's going to be key. I know a lot of people like to use vortex trap and phase dodge, but they're not going to be best. Phase dodge is incredibly too long of cooldown, and vortex trap is 4 second cooldown as opposed to 3, and you'll see why that matters here in a little bit. Iconic powers, you really just want to get robot sidekick and super strength. Now you can make an argument for a Neo Venom boost or even pheromone bloom, which is going to be better than speed drain, especially if it crits. Now you only want to use those two supercharges whenever you are trying to keep spamming out those eye Gemini rings, those orange rings by you. Say if you're having a very good group, 2 EOG spam healers, maybe even a tank 2, you can alternate between Circuit Breaker and Neo Venom, which will work wonders, and you take your robot socket out to keep alternating those two supers. Now, if you only maybe have 1 or 2 EOG spam people in the group, maybe you're very invested in supercharging, you still run Pheromone Bloom, take your robot sidekick out, and it still does wonders. Now, keep in mind, you don't want to have Emperor Aquaman then for the Hear My Call, where you get the 10% damage buff to your pets if you're going to take out robot sidekick, okay? So definitely keep that in mind. In terms of our stat points and how we're going to spec these here, you're pretty much going to stay on the left-hand side and go right down the list in terms of importance. So your focus weapons expert. Then you're going to get your critical attack chances, your critical attack damage, max out your precision, dump everything else in mind power. Now, I do recommend that you at least put 1 into all these other stats because they do help. Bite gives you a little bit more power back. Dominance helps you, with your pretty much a little bit of your healing, maybe if you have a shield, if you're going to use that, as well as you being able to control and block break and stuff like that, especially with our foot mod that we have here with the deadly block, okay? And then restoration will help just team with our abilities whenever we use something like Hurt Lightning and stuff like that to help them heal a little bit better as well as ourselves. Okay. Now, in terms of our actual loadout, the super speed variation of this loadout is going to be this: Electrogenesis into Wired, S3C to 12-second cooldown, so they match perfectly. We're going to clip them into one another. So clip Electrogenesis into Wired. Then we're going to do a weapon combo, go Electrostatic Bomb. You see 3-second cooldown, so it's perfect to pair with Whirling Dervish that also has 3-second cooldown. Now, if you don't know how to actually get out of Whirling Dervish, you're just going to weapon tap out of it, and it'll stop the animation altogether, and you just keep on pushing from there. And since these are both 3-second cooldowns, you're able to alternate these back and forth in between weapon combos to maximize your full damage potential and take advantage of that max damage hand socket right here, okay? Now, you also could use, if you do not have Whirling Dervish, if you just have Electrostatic Bomb, you could use a few different variations of it. If you're acrobatics, you could use that grapple line attack. But if not, you could still go ahead and hit it with a Tesla Blast if you're doing single target damage. If you're doing more AoE stuff, you could put a Voltaic Blast in the mix as well. Now, if you don't like either one of those things, you can definitely hit it with a Shockwave. It's pretty easy to get out of. Well, not necessarily easy to get out of per se, but it's a quick animation, so you can just keep moving on your feet, keep doing more and more damage. If you don't like any of those options, then hey, you can always throw in a Bioelectric Surge to help just clip stuff very much easier and keep pushing. Especially you can clip Electrostatic Bomb, so you don't have to deal with that animation whatsoever at all. But in terms of our loadout and our rotation of the loadout, we're gonna do, like I said before, Electrogenesis into Wire, do a weapon combo, bomb combo, Whirling Dervish, get out of it by weapon tapping, and just keep going. Now with this one here, I've been able to hit pretty much around that 150,000 per second, and when I'm in content, way higher than that. It is absolutely ridiculous. I haven't found a lot of people to, really anyone, now that I've had this build, to beat me single target wise when using this in its full potential. And if you even see too, when you do Whirling Dervish, even when you clip out of it, you will get the initial hit or two if you're close enough to any ads or enemies. So like Rock of Eternity, when you're in there, if you Faust, you know, get that one phase where the ads pop up. If you hit Whirling Dervish around, you will get an additional hit there, which helps you out with your damage, especially if you're DPS comping. Now, like I said before, there's a couple variations to this loadout. If you want to do, you know, the non-super speed variation, I already gave you that. But if you want to go ahead and do the, you know, supercharge spam, take out Robot Sidekick there, pop in the Neo Venom boost, or even pop in Pheromone Bloom if you don't have that much supercharge generation happening for you. Now, if they are a little bit more of a distance and you still want to get a little bit extra damage in, you could put Speed Drain in, because Speed Drain can be a close to mid-range ability, as well as a Pheromone Bloom, which is just close range. It's what only the damage does. Now, you don't want to primarily focus on the damage, you more just want to use it and keep pushing, but if you use it, hey, it's there for you. Now, that is all I really have for y'all for in terms of this video. Check out my other videos. I already put out my precision AoE range / melee loadout build. It's already up on the channel. I will be having the pet DPS ones here coming soon, as well as the might based, you know, AoE and single target loadouts alike, okay, for ranged and melee. So plus on top of that, now thinking about it, I will have the healing loadouts, whether pure healing, battle healing, or EOG spam, or anything in between, jack of all trades kind of build as well, coming here soon, as well as the PvP loadouts, whether you're doing arenas or duels. I have a loadout for both of those, okay? Without further ado, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, check out the video, put that notification bell, set it to all so you know when I'm dropping more content, please. So support the content by watching the videos, and especially watching the ads, which help me get a little bit kickback to me. When I get a little kickback to me, I'm able to do more things, like when we do membership giveaways and stuff like that. Okay, without further ado, really, nothing else left to say. Peace and shalom.